Welcome to episode 3. My name is Chris. I'm so grateful you're taking the time to watch these little videos on my blossoming, burgeoning YouTube channel. It really means a ton to me. This week, I want to talk about idols and heroes and why the words we choose matter. So, it's only fitting that we start where all good ideas start, in puberty. We're gonna travel back 19 years. 19. Wow. I'm old. Wow. I'm old. To the year 2000 in 7th grade. This is 7th grade me. Y'all remember my 7th grade teacher, Mr. Cross. He was the middle school teacher that taught English and literature and writing. And he had us write in these little blue notebooks that I did this Indiana Jones-esque scavenger hunt in my parents' house in order to find. Now there is a ton of really awkward, just terrible poetry and writing and essays that Mr. Cross made me write and the whole class write. Every week there was a prompt, you had to write it, you had to do something. It just so happens that I came across an essay that I wrote February 7th of the year 2000, 7th grade Chris, around my idol, Lance Armstrong. And I described my idol and him as an idol in this little book here. That's my handwriting back in the day. This is a 50 out of 50. I don't know if you can see that. Very interesting and informative, says Mr. Cross. There's a reason why he was my favorite teacher, because I always did well in his class. Not about my success as a writer when I was 12. This is about Lance Armstrong being an idol and falling. You see, Lance was this mythic, legendary idol in my life. I had his jersey, I had his memoir, I watched every stage of the Tour de France, I watched other races of his. I was super into mountain biking and cycling. Part of that was because the neighbor next door was a few years older, and he kind of functioned to me like a big brother. So whatever he was doing and was into, I was doing and was super excited about as well. So he was really big into cycling, I was really big into cycling. That's how stuff usually works with like older brothers and that kind of figure stuff. I took it a little further though with writing an essay around why Lance Armstrong's my idol. And I want to share just like a little snippet of that, just because it's just super awkward and I'm okay with the cringeworthy aspects of it. Lance is not just a biker. He's also an educated man, kind of like John Elway, the quarterback of the Denver Broncos. Lance has a master's degree in business. There are so many reasons why Lance is my idol. His will to keep going when people counter him out stands above the rest. Lance is a very modest person. Okay. I think we should stop there because it just gets worse and awkward describing this guy who won a whole bunch of Tour de France's, had this crazy legacy, started this foundation called Livestrong, and then a few years ago just hit rock bottom. It came out that he lied and cheated and stole and did all these awful things to so many people, and his legacy is kind of forever ruined because of that. So Lance was on this crazy high pedestal in my life and then hits rock bottom a few years ago. And there's so many celebrities that go through that journey, right? Recently, there was that big documentary on Netflix called Neverland that explored the sexual and emotional abuse that Michael Jackson did to these kids, and it really created a lot of like conflict around Michael Jackson's legacy for so many people around the music and who he is and can we still listen to it. And some people just dug their heels in and defended him all the more because he is their idol. We have this culture of idol worship in America. We had a show called American Idol that was this cultural phenomenon for years. It was in the title, American Idol. That rhymed. It's fine. We tend to ascribe meaning and value and put people on these ridiculous high ledges in our life when they really shouldn't be. And it only ends up causing heartbreak later down the road. Not only for those people, but for ourselves. There was a part of me when all this came out around Lance Armstrong when I was like 27 that was just heartbroken. Like, this sucks. Like, I have this framed picture in his jersey in my basement. I don't know what to do with it now, because for a while it was like this really cool, inspiring thing, and I loved it, and now it's kind of just gross. Idols tend to do that. You see, an idol now is usually a human, but throughout most of history, idols were these dead objects. They were these human-made creations that those humans then ascribed a ton of meaning to. They put meaning and life and spirit into these inanimate objects that they created, and then those objects stood above them in their lives. They were separate from their creators. But ultimately, they're just these hollow, lifeless things. And when we put people in the same category as those hollow, lifeless things, it doesn't end well. And so I want this mental mode to shift. I don't want to hear podcasts like Tim Ferriss talks about his idols all the time. Not to call out Tim, I mean, he's never going to watch this. But it's just kind of weird to me, right? Because idols are, by definition, I mean, A, they're human-made, and B, they're lifeless. They don't have any spirit. There's no soul. There's no substance to them. And that's why I want us to switch to heroes. A few years ago, I got my very first design job. I was so excited. I was a legit designer. It was in my title, lead designer for this company in Denver. And the guy that got me the job, that essentially gave me this shot, I put him on a crazy high pedestal, almost as high as 7th grade Chris with Lance Armstrong. Everything this human did, I was blown away by, right? A year into the role, all that changed. Found out that he was lying a bunch about a bunch of different things. I got let go. My coworker got let go. He even lied about that whole situation. There was just so many different areas of like, wow, actually, he's not the person I thought he was. And it was really devastating. And I was like a pretty full-grown adult at that point. This is only a handful of years ago. That story was a major turning point for me, from having people that I idealize to moving towards having heroes in my life. A hero still has this elevated position, but they have a journey, they're flawed, they have this arc in their life, and they certainly make mistakes. It allows me to see people the way we really should see people, which is, we're all going to mess up. We're all human. It's just kind of part of the human experience to have these days where you're in a really bad mood and you snap at somebody that you are just kind of a jerk, and the Starbucks line, you're whatever it is, right? We all have that. There's a reason why the phrase never meet your idols, I think it's usually heroes, but I substitute it out because I still think that there's a lot of value in the term hero. But never meet your idols, because they will eventually fail you. It will be awkward. They may not be the people you think they are, and it's really hard. You're putting so much meaning and value on people that maybe shouldn't have that either. Whereas heroes, they go through this journey. Could someone like Lance Armstrong still be a hero? Maybe in a few years, depending on how he recovers. Maybe there's like a story for him there. I hope so. I believe in redemption. I believe that there are these redeeming arcs in people's lives, and so certainly he could move from being this villain in this narrative that he's created to a hero. I hope. There's definitely people that have done that in history, and it's been powerful to see and to witness. But when we put people in these idealized positions, it will always lead to failure. It will always lead to heartache. Always. Because idols, by definition, are lifeless. We want to follow people and learn from people and look up to people that are full of life, that have spirit and substance, that they make mistakes and they own it, and you can learn from that as well, as much as all the other things that you're learning from their knowledge, from their wisdom, whatever it is. Small idea, small switch. Heroes and idols. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you got something out of this. The idea that we should kill our idols, right? And turn them into heroes. remove them a few ledges down in the way we see people, because inherently people are flawed and they will make mistakes. And it's an easier mental shift to understand that, to give grace to those that you're learning from, that you look up to. Thank you so much for watching. This was episode 3. Episode 4 is coming next Monday morning, 7:30 Pacific time. I'm in Denver, so it's 8:30 Mountain Standard Time. We can go through all the time zones if you want. I'm not going to do that. Check back in next Monday. Thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing week.